All right, guys, the shirt is off, and now we're serious. 100 men versus a silverback gorilla. I've seen the videos. All right, fine. 100 normal men. Obviously, a gorilla will decimate them, and we're gonna get into that. We're gonna break that down scientifically, by science. But now the question is, what if the 100 men looked like me? This is gorilla material right here. Let's talk about it. All right, so first things first, guys, we got to break it down. We got to break the science down. How strong is a gorilla? Really, how strong is a gorilla? Well, we look at the strongest man in the world, or the strongest records in the world. The best bench press on record is about 782 pounds. The best deadlift is about 500 pounds, right? Eddie Hall. When we look at a gorilla's strength, first of all, let's start with the head. This is what the skull of a silverback gorilla looks like. I don't know what some of these men are thinking when they're thinking they can beat a gorilla, but what part of this head is going to get injured?
How did they think that was okay?
It looks like some kind of mask you wear in a future AI war that is impenetrable with anything. So no matter how hard you punch that thing, I don't think it's going to cause any damage. But let's take it step by step. First of all, the jaws. A gorilla's bite force has 1300 psi. Do you know how big a lion's head is? Like, I know maybe you might see in the videos or the pictures, you might think that it's kind of this big, right? Like maybe like this. It's like this big. The jaws are fucking like that. A lion's bite force is about 700 to a maximum of 1000 psi. A gorilla's is 1300.
Do me a favor, please.
Just digest that.
Get out of here, man. Shit, I'm saying.
Now, strength, sheer strength. A gorilla's bench press can go up to 5,000 pounds.
Are you serious?
Go on ChatGPT right here. Bench press to about 4,000 to 5,000 pounds. And this is being conservative. So maybe 5,000 is like a strong, well-built silverback gorilla. That's what we're talking about. 5,000 pounds. It's not just about bench press, right? This is a pushing force. So a man, like 100 men. Are we talking like Kyle and Jim from fucking accounting? Or are we talking like guys like me? I'm what, 200 pounds? Off season, maybe 220, 230, 5,000 pounds. I will be sent like a bowling ball through 30 other men. Let's go to the deadlift. Pulling force. So basically a gorilla's pull force, right? Like fucking to rip you apart. A gorilla's deadlift is about 4,000 to 5,000 pounds as well. That's given the raw pulling power and back strength. Remember, they effortlessly pull down full-grown banana trees. Effortless, like just kind of like, yeah, let's bring that thing down. Now, finally, squat. So their leg power, their kick power, 2,000 to 4,500 pounds. That is a gorilla. So let's say we have 100 men. Okay, we're going to start with basic men, basic regular men. You got Jim from accounting, you got Kyle, you got the Kevins. There's always the Kevins. You got Michael, the manager. I don't know if Pam is in there, the secretary. Maybe it's a guy, whatever. I mean, probably the same strength as a girl at this point. But like regular men, not on dad cycles, not on TRTs, basic men.
I don't like where this is going.
First of all, let's talk about the psychological impact of the first 10 that are going to be decimated. Their limbs are going to be ripped apart. This will send a psychological wave to the rest of the men.
And I've decided that I want to die.
Most of which will probably flee. There's also the fact that these men are untrained fighters. There is going to be disorganization. They will not know how and what to attack. They're just going to basically try and pull on it, push on it, maybe try and punch through it, maybe like what, 10, 15 men at a time, all decimated, all dead. There's no question.
Who's laughing now?
This is not a debate. The debate is, can a gorilla beat 100 men that look like me and UFC fighters? So let's say a mix of bodybuilders, strongmen, and UFC fighters. Now we're talking. Now we might have some material to deal with. Now, the problem with this whole debate is that most men think that 100 is a big number. The problem is how many can attack at a single time. 15 at most. 15 surrounding at most. So you got boxers, you got grapplers, and you got guys with just brute force like me. We're attacking this gorilla. A gorilla can eliminate, can erase 15 men in seconds. The question here is endurance. Gorillas are very large animals and they do tire easily. But, and this is a big but, I want you to take a look at this clip of two male silverbacks fighting. They don't tire easily when they're in aggressive mode and adrenaline mode. And I'm guessing the forces that are going to come about is going to be something of God form. You have to put in mind that a chimpanzee can destroy several men at once. The raw power of these animals almost can't be measured. We've seen videos of gorillas bending steel just for shits and giggles. 15 men. You got some grapplers, you got some punchers. How are the punches going to affect the thick layer of fur? And then you have the muscle and then the bone density, which is about 10 folds of a normal man. I believe that's the bone density of a silverback gorilla.
Today your ass is gonna die.
I want to break the fight down scientifically. You have 100 trained fighters, 180 up to 260 pounds versus a 500-pound male gorilla. Now, the fighters have high fighting IQ, they have endurance, and they have strength. The rule is no weapons involved. How many can attack at a single time? Let's say 8. So what's going to happen is, first things first, this is going to be fights in shifts. 8 fighters at a time, taking shifts and hopefully tiring the gorilla out.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
Now, theoretically, 5 to 8 elite trained fighters, and I've researched this. I've studied this. I've gone deep before I made this video. 5 to 8 trained elite fighters can generate, theoretically, about 1,500 to 2,000 force of striking power. As in, like, cumulative force in attacking at once. 1,500 to 2,000 pounds of force. We said we have the grapplers, we have the punchers. Now, grappling a gorilla is relatively, it's impossible. You can't and you won't. You can't grapple a gorilla. That's like saying I am going to choke a car while it's going 100 kilometers an hour. That statement itself doesn't make sense. It's the same exact sense as grappling a gorilla, no matter how many guys you are. Even if like there are fucking 5 grapplers or 10 grapplers on one limb. Remember, 5,000 pounds a deadlift, 4,000 pounds a bench press, and 4,500 pounds a squat. You're not going to hold it down. That's not going to happen. We got 8 elite fighters and let's say even boxers and fighters. Okay, mix. Kung fu, whatever, martial arts, a lot of chop work, 5 to 8 at a time. So that's the first wave. So we have about 12 waves of fighters. Even if the first wave were to do some damage, which won't. The problem is the first 8 with the gorilla's fresh adrenaline rush, the first 8 will be killed in seconds. Seconds, not minutes. Maybe 8 seconds. I would say 8 to 15 seconds. All the front line, they're going to be killed. They're going to be decimated. Because the gorilla moves wild. When these fighters face each other, they have fighting IQ and they kind of study the movement and then they kind of like create some kind of prediction or some kind of equation on how the fighter is going to react to the fighter studying him, how he's going to react to his punches, how he counters, all that stuff. And it's usually a pattern and like, okay, this is the fighting style of the guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
None of that applies to a gorilla.
My disappointment is immeasurable.
The gorilla is just chaos and mayhem start to finish. You don't know what's flying at you. You don't know if he's going to decide to bite your head off, rip your skull apart, or chop your head off, rip a limb and use that limb to beat the out of other fighters. What? The rule is no weapons. He will make weapons out of your limbs. That's the problem.
That was easy.
So how many trained fighters will be able to do it? 15 trained fighters, all of them are going to die in the first second. 30 trained fighters, some damage possible, but they're all going to lose and die. Now, if we're talking maybe up to 70 fighters, 70 fighters, 70 waves, collaborative, maybe they have some kind of plan, maybe like 2 are going to grapple each limb, or 3 or 4 guys are going to grapple like one each leg and eventually tire the gorilla down. So maybe let's say after the 4th wave, the gorilla is like kind of like, okay, boring, I'm getting a little tired.
A few moments later.
Maybe there might be a little bit of damage, but I would say that they would still lose. And whether you like it or not, psychological effects still come in play. They're still going to come in play, no matter what. No matter how much of a good fighter you are, when you see an animal in complete out of control, that is loud, that has a huge jaw with sharp teeth, and just a chunk of exploding muscle going everywhere at the same time, it will affect you. You will have second thoughts. Some of these fighters are going to be like, no. 80 to 100 elite fighters. What's going to happen? If they take turns, like collaborative planned turns, like let's say, okay, we're going to attack 20 seconds at a time, try and inflict as much damage as possible. But even then, when I think about that, all of these men, even if they were bodybuilders, like maybe if it was like 100 Eddie Halls, I think 100 Eddie Halls might pull it off. might pull it off.
Come on, man.
Because I'm thinking 2 will be able to hold a limb down. 2 will definitely be able to hold, or like maybe the weight. Let's say 8 Eddie Halls at one time. Eddie Hall weighs like maybe 300 pounds, 350 pounds. So we got a good 1,400 pounds. That's 3 times the weight of a silverback. I think to a certain extent they might be able to. I can't imagine. My brain is still not like, my brain is computing. It's still not. It's like error. It's a silverback. But maybe 100 Eddie Halls, bodybuilders, guys who look like me, strong and powerful. I mean, my limbs are like what, maybe 5 times the strength of a normal person. Something like that, right? I mean, I don't know. But there might be some damage to the gorilla. A mix of Eddie Halls and elite UFC fighters. There might be some damage to the gorilla. There might be a little bit of an edge towards the human if all the attacks were collaborated, timed, and planned. Like, they have to have some kind of strategy. Other than that, rare scenario where you have 50 of the best fighters in the world and 50 of the strongest men in the world fighting together collaboratively. Maybe as they hold the gorilla down, 2 of the UFC fighters try to jump on the gorilla's head and choke it out with their legs. One pokes the gorilla's eyes. Like, yeah, now I can start to imagine it. Now I can start to see some kind of scenario where this is actually doable. 50 elite UFC fighters, 50 Eddie Halls. I am curious to know, how many of you actually think that this can happen? How many of you believe that this theory can actually be true? And how many of you just think like, yeah, any average 100 men, like the gyms, I'm sorry, anyone of you whose name is Jim or Kyle or Kevin, but yeah, any of the normal guys, 100 guys against a gorilla, if you actually think that 100 men can beat a gorilla, let me know in the comments. And that's today's video. Please subscribe and buy a program or get some coaching, and maybe I can turn you into a gorilla yourself. Live like a gorilla amongst these normal humans, man. It's a great feeling to look like this. Like, women see that and it's like, that is stronger than a normal man. That's why this debate came about. It's because secretly we want to be able to defeat bears, grizzly bears, gorillas, and lions. It's like always in the back of our head. Like, you see an animal and you're like, can I take that down? Can I take that down? I can take a jaguar down, maybe a leopard. Yeah, I don't know. Let me know in the comments. All right, I'm out.